Welcome to Trusted Podcast, where it's all about discovering who you are and learning the tools and strategies to make every area of your life a little sweeter. And now your host, Master Coach and Caddy, Fader.
Aloha, as we say. None of us are in Aloha land right now. Two of us are in the dry heat, and one of us is in the less dry heat.
Amen.
Beautiful. Well, today, my friends at Trusted Coaching, we have a dear friend of mine, Matt DeVore, and we're going to chat with him in just a minute. And I'm grateful that he hasn't cut his locks.
Never. Just flow, baby.
Look at that.
Oh, wow.
Look at that. So I met Matt 3.5 years ago. And, well, we thought we'd start interviewing some of our favorite people and those that have left a lasting impression on me about how they've been raised. And for those of you who know me very well, you are very aware that I lost one of the key pinnacles in my life, my father, Alton Wade. He passed away Thursday, and it was an extreme blessing to be able to climb on a red eye and get to Vegas. And my brother and I drive up, and we got here at noon on Thursday, and my dad passed around 1:30 on Thursday. So it was with great humility and just dignity that I got to lay by my dad on his bed and take in his last few breaths. And what a daddy of the year, daddy of the decade, daddy of the century that man is. And I will always revere him as my father. He's amazing. So, Matt, we're all about helping fathers, mothers become better parents, learn some skills and some, you've listened to some of our podcasts. We're trying to share a few little things. But Matt came into my life because I have a beautiful daughter-in-law named Maddie Long, who married my beautiful boy, Bradley. And they came over to Hawaii to visit before they got married. And all of a sudden, these very strong, good-looking boys show up at my house, and my daughter-in-law has seven brothers? Yeah. And they're all dead ugly. They're all extremely handsome, and she is beautiful, and the parents. And then there was this sidekick, and he's got this just amazing personality and this hair that flows. And I was like, okay, there's got to be a story. And then I looked at the Longs, and they looked at me like he's just another brother. And I'm like, okay, but where does he fit in? And I thought, I got to let the world hear this story, Matt. So thanks for taking a minute, coming on, and start from the beginning and tell us how you met the Longs, and then dive right into your childhood.
Yeah, so I met the Longs actually in 2015 was my first encounter with the Longs. So we're going on a 10-year reunion here pretty soon. But it was at Dixie State University at the time, and I was running for student body president. Tim Long, who's my best friend, was running for vice president, and that's the first time I've ever heard of him. And Mike Long, his older brother, was running against me for being student body president. So that was my first encounter with the Longs. I was like, who are these guys? They haven't been in student government. Now they're going to try to walk in here and take this election. That's not going to happen. So they were the competition, the enemy at first, but quickly through connection and building a relationship, that all changed very fast and for the better. So that's how I initially met him. But in building that connection relationship with him, just kind of, he got to know me, I got to know him. He brought me into the family. And it was funny because through that summer when we had just gone through the election process, we had an internship, and he kept hearing things about my upbringing and stuff like that. And one day he was like, hey, I'd love to just go to lunch and just get to know you and talk. So we actually went and got a pizza, and we went to a park, and we sat there for like 2 hours and just kind of talked about life. And I shared my upbringing with him. And I think that was the catalyst for the way our relationship took place from there. And like you mentioned, I became part of the Long family, and I was just brought in, and I was in their family photos. I went to Hawaii on the family trip. So it was awesome. And
So
I'll share about that later, but
yeah, we're all going to grab a pizza and a root beer, sit on the couch, and our listeners are not accustomed to 2 hours like Tim was listening to you, but let's give us the quick, beautiful version of your childhood and how that graduated into where you are now. All right.
Yeah. So quick version of the childhood. I was born in Phoenix, and as a child and trying to understand life, you really don't know too much in that time frame, in that moment in your life, because you don't know what you don't know, and you're just going through experiences, and that's kind of like what shapes your perspective and gives you those viewpoints. So I quickly realized that my childhood wasn't like most, and it involved a lot of moving around from place to place, a lot of motels and hotels, and also a lot of homelessness, all involved during a short period of time in my childhood. So, as I was able to get older, I realized that the reason why all of that was taking place and we're moving so often and not having electricity or going to these different things was because my mom was addicted to drugs. And it's an unfortunate thing, but that's the reality of what it was. She was addicted to substances, and even though she tried her best and loved us the best way that she could, I have a sister, so we were involved in this situation. It seemed like the drugs always had a precedence and always had priority over that, no matter how much she loved us. And again, that's the sad part of about addiction. But I know she cares, and I know she loves me to this day, and she wishes that that was never the case, but it was. And you know, like I said, being a child in that environment, I didn't fully grasp why things were happening the way they were. And it took experiences and moments and exposure to certain things to start putting pieces together and understanding why, as well as getting older. I tell everybody I feel like I had to be a grown man at the age of 12. I stand by that because of the circumstances. I had to learn to fend for myself and realize that I was going to have to put things in place in order to survive. And um, through that, it was just a tough experience. But I can stand here today and tell all of you I wouldn't trade that for the world because of the people that I got to meet, the support that I had, and the way it has shifted my perspective of what success looks like, what life can be, how you could be a parent or a father, all of these things I feel like stem from what I experienced as a child, and it made me want to be the best version of myself. It made me want to do
Mm.
the opposite of what I was seeing. So I've joked around a few times with my mother, and I also feel like there's some truth to it. I say, hey, you did a great job at teaching me what is right, what is wrong, right? And how to strive for success. You
Mm.
just did it from the opposite approach, right? You showed me exactly what not to do, and let me tell you, I will never take those lessons for granted because they truly did open my eyes,
Mm.
and I'm able to pinpoint certain areas or things that I've done in my life that attribute to those experiences because I wanted to be the best version for myself and for my future.
Wow. So that is a great lead into even from some of the most difficult, even disgusting things of our life, we can grow and learn some of the most beautiful things from.
100%.
Well, you're living proof of that. What would you say to that, Tyson?
Well, it's just, as I hear your story, I just think like, where did you get, say, the motivation to just like create your own success instead of succumbing to the circumstance? Like, how'd
Yeah,
that
that
turn
that's
out?
something I think about often too, because I really believe that maybe I'm just one of the lucky ones, that I was blessed
Yeah.
to like have this ability to take a situation that was horrible, and there's a lot of things that I don't like talking about, or a lot of things that I see that no child should ever see, but I always have felt like I just had like a gift or a blessing to be able to see that for what it's worth and understand that I could still make a difference in my own life. And I feel like I had that inherently. And then I also feel like I saw that through other people's families and other people's relationships and their upbringings and stuff like that. I could see that and I can piece those together. Oh, that's what it should look like. That's how it could look like. Even though my situation isn't like that, what can I do for the future? And
Yeah.
Mm.
that's where I really tied into like, you know, building on that motivation, especially as I got older and I was able to understand the reason why I'm in this situation was because of drugs. And I would get angry, I'd get mad, and you get to those teenage years and you kind of put those pieces together and understand. And I just came to the realization that no matter the amount of begging, crying, pleading, hoping, that situation wasn't going to change. It was already done, right? So as I'm starting to get to 18, I'm graduating, I was able to realize like, hey, that sucked. I'll never shy from that. I'll never tell anybody it didn't suck. It did. But at the end of the day, I'm going to be an adult now and I can decide what my life looks like. So I can either repeat the same cycle and no one would ever fault me because that's all Matt ever knew. That's the upbringing he was brought up in. That's what he saw. That's what he thought life was. Or I can put an end to it right then and there, understand, hey, it sucked. You can't go back and change it. But what can you do to make your life better now? From this point forward,
Yeah.
what can you do? And that's what I always hung my hat on because I knew I could decide what my life would look like.
And as you were going through like even your teenage years, you mentioned just being able to see other families. Like, what were some of the moments or when you saw the like what did they have that you just like saw and you're just like, oh, that's what I want.
Yeah, that's a great question, and I can't tell you the countless number of families that I'd stayed with in Mesquite because I spent my middle school and high school years in Mesquite, Nevada, and I felt like that was also a blessing moving to Mesquite from Phoenix because it was so much smaller that people understood what I was dealing with. They understood my environment, they understood my situation, so a lot more people were willing to help. And again, that's a blessing for me because if I didn't have that, who knows what life could have looked like. But they took me in, they offered to give me meals and let me spend the night for as long as I needed, different things. And by doing that, I would see how they act as a family unit, which is something I never had, right? Because my mom and dad were split from the beginning. They were divorced. I never lived a day of my life with my dad. So I didn't get to see what like a mom and dad look like together in a home. But when I got to go to dinner with my friends, I got to see what that looked like. I got to see the pictures on the wall. I got to ask questions about what they do for work or how they operate. And then from that point, it just was like, okay, so like this is what it could look like. Take away the drugs, do the right things, maybe go to college, get an education, look for a career. Like this is how life can look if you're willing to put in the work and put in that effort. So countless of families took me in and I was able to see this and I felt like I was able to take something away from all of them. Like I feel like each and every family that I interacted with showed me a different perspective, showed me a different outlet. It was just an amazing thing. And the more I saw it, the more I was like, I can achieve this. I can do this. I can put in the work. I can change my life for good.
That's inspiring. But I have something that's going through my mind, Matt, is when you found the Long family and those 7 boys, they had one girl. And she's just beautiful now, isn't she? I mean, my son thinks so, right? She married him. I'm like, that had to be an attraction for you, Matt. Oh, come on.
Yeah.
She wanted to hang around all those boys, but she wasn't the worst thing, was she?
She wasn't. At that stage I was a little bit older and stuff, but the Long family, they're amazing and they'll be my family forever. Like I don't think.
What were some of the attributes about the Long family that you love so much and that you gravitated towards?
Well, first it wasn't that moment with Tim where he just wanted to get to know me. Like I feel like especially at that age, we're in college, we're 21, 22, like for somebody to be like, "Hey, I keep hearing about your story. I would love to just go sit and listen." I feel like that's a rare thing, but he took that step and we did that and then my willingness to just share and be open with that and build those connections. So in those moments he was just really trying to understand me, get to know me and just actively listening. And that's an amazing thing. So it felt good to like confide into somebody and do that. And I felt like that's where our relationship really started. He's my number one best friend and he will be forever. But from there, it stemmed into meeting, like talking to his brother and then meeting others. And then I'll tell you what, and Fader, you know this, Chris and Tony Long, unbelievable. You think of a mom's mom, somebody who was put on this earth to be a mom. Chris Long to raise 7 boys and 1 sweet girl, and the way that she did it is amazing. And as somebody who didn't have that, walking into that home, I can instantly feel that. Right, going into that home, seeing family there forever on the wall, seeing the pictures, seeing how the only thing that matters at the end of the day is that family aspect, that coming together, sharing our thoughts, our feelings, opinions, like hearing about what other people are doing or what they want their future to look like. And that's the thing that's the most important. That's something that I hold near and dear, probably more than most, because I didn't get to have that. So when I understood that's what life can look like, and then I'm in an environment that has that, man, talk about drawing me in.
You couldn't have got more lucky, could you?
Seriously. And
Yeah, some of the most accepting and accepting. I would call them the accepting family because they wear that on their sleeve. It doesn't matter. Nothing matters to them. They just, it's a big hug and that's all you get.
And I
Well,
not having that, that's what I desired, right? That's what I was here
mm-hmm,
for. And I feel like
mm-hmm,
you guys can put yourself in my position and understand how special that would be, and to be able to feel that and it doesn't feel forced, it doesn't feel faked, it just feels true and accepting and that they love you, like
mm-hmm.
that family will be a part of my life forever.
It's tough to beat that quality, isn't it? And that's one of the things that we all, all me, you, all of us need to incorporate more into our life, is especially in today's world with so many different varieties of ways of looking at things, isn't it? So I didn't know this, but we talked just for a minute before the beginning of the podcast, and Matt let me know that he's not married, and I was teasing him a little bit about um, this podcast, and I'm saying, okay, what would you say to the dads? And he broke some news, so I'm gonna have you break that news, and it made my day. I'm
Yeah.
giddy as a little kid, so happy for you. But tell me about that, and then tell me, why don't you just? We always love to. The hallmark of our podcast is we like to leave one challenge for ourselves, and I'd like you to leave us a challenge as to what, as a father or a mother, you would incorporate into your family and what you feel is one of the greatest attributes to bring into parenting and that will help all of us listening with. So take it away. Tell us about this girl and what's going on.
I'll try my best to answer this, right? But obviously, going through that situation, I've always looked forward to the future of, what it would be like if I had kids and if I had a chance to do things right. And again, just like the experiences that I was having, that I was like, okay, I can change my life. I thought about in the future, okay, what about if I am a father? About if I have the opportunity to do this? What would I do in those types of situations? And again, it gives me a huge perspective. So, like I mentioned right before, I recently started dating someone, and we've been going strong for 8 months now, and it's getting pretty serious. And she happens to have two kids. It's a 6-year-old daughter and a 2-year-old boy, and sweetest kids you'll ever meet. And I think honestly, deep down, one of the reasons why I feel like I was so attracted to her and why our relationship works so well is because she is what, again, I would like to have surrounded in my life, right? She's a
Mm,
mother. She cares for her kids. She puts them as the number one priority, even above me, which is a great thing, right? I feel like she should put her kids above me and our relationship because that's the most important thing in her life, and she does that, just that, and she's one of the best moms I've ever seen. So I feel
wow.
like I'm lucky right now in the sense to be able to have a part in their life too, because they're young, they're navigating their own experiences, and I just feel lucky and blessed to be able to be a part of their journey and to share some of my wisdom with them and interact with them. And I know it means a lot to the girl that I'm dating too because she wants that, right? Like I said, she's
Mm,
the best mom you can ever think of. She wants to have a male figure in the house that can provide the things that a male should do in those environments and interact with the kids and help them and teach them the ways of the world. And I've been caught off guard a few times because I just do things naturally where I'm there playing with them and I'm having fun, and I don't even recognize how much it means to her. She'll then put the kids to bed, put them to sleep, and then she'll just come and we'll start talking, and she'll just get teary-eyed thinking about the way I just interact with them or the activity that we did and how she wants that so much because she knows how important it is to have that in her kids' lives. And it's just an awesome thing to be able to have that. And I feel like, maybe I was put in this position and we found each other for a reason to have me in their lives and just again step in and play a role so that they can have the best life possible.
wow. Well, that's about as good as it gets, brother. I just want you to know how much I love you and how much I appreciate the things that you have taught me. You just you gave me personally, we like to give a challenge, and you just gave me the challenge because I'm always getting butthurt when Heidi spends so much time talking to my kids on the phone all over the country. And I'm like, come talk to me. Talk to me a little bit. I got some work to do there, Matt. So thank you.
Yeah. And what you asked for as far as the challenge, I would say is really just look for ways to be open and accepting. And,
Mm.
not saying that by any means that you have to take people in or anything, but I was so blessed and so lucky to have families that would open their homes up to me. They weren't my biological mom, dad, nothing, but when they accepted me and they invited me in, it felt like I was a part of something. And I've had that time and time again. All of these families, I can list 5 of them in Mesquite. The Longs are another example, but I challenge everybody that's listening or wants to better themselves is maybe be open, maybe be accepting, maybe look for opportunities because you never know what people can go through and you never know how it could change their life. I know on this side that because of those families that took me in and supported me the ways that they did, it shaped my direction. It shaped in my future. It gave me opportunities to then better myself. Yes, I had to put in the work, but that was also the foundation. That was something I could see and visualize, and then I could say, okay, I can make steps to do this. And that's because they opened up their hearts, opened up their homes, and it made the world a difference for me. And I'll never forget that and never let that go unrecognized.
Wow. Well, I got my hairs on the back of my head are standing up. It's just such a delight to be with you, and I love our friendship, and our family loves you and the Longs so much. They've been such an addition to our lives, but thank you for taking the time to share with us. I know there are going to be many people touched by what you've said, Matt, and that means a lot. And so, parting words, Tyson?
No, I just something that you said challenged me. Besides, the invitation to be accepting is just how even in the relationship that you're in now, you're just playing with the kids. It's like that's all they need right now. That's
Yeah.
all they need right now is a male figure or just like someone to play with them and to encourage them and to just be with them, do fun things with them. And so for me, that's, something that I'm like, I've got kids that are around that age. So it's like, that's what I want to do. I want to just love on them, accept them and bring them in. So just appreciate you coming on here, sharing your story and know it's going to be a benefit to just touch the hearts of those that are listening.
Mm-hmm.
Last thing I had for you is you're working at Utah Technical College. That's what they call it nowadays.
Whoa,
You,
not technical. Utah Tech University.
Oh, easy.
There we go.
sorry, I had to throw the Dixie College in there, for those of us who went to Dixie College.
Yeah, I graduated from Dixie State University.
There you go. You were in the midline. I was in the bottom line there. So it will always be my beloved Dixie.
Yeah.
And are you working with the students there?
Yeah,
as
so
well?
I'm the director of student outreach services. So I oversee our peer coach program, and I have 40 peer
Oh,
coaches that are upper division students that meet with first year students, kind of mentor them through that first year.
dang, they couldn't be more lucky.
Yeah.
They
That's what I
could
tell
not
them
be.
too. Like they know they struck gold, right? So
Yeah, it's awesome.
they've been
All right.
great. I was student body president, got a job right after, and never left. I've been working here for 8 years. So
Oh man.
Oh, you found a home, baby.
uh,
That's awesome. Well, aloha to you, Matt. We'll see you around. Tyson, thanks as always. And as I close every podcast and everything that I ever say, you can trust it. So thanks.
Hey, listen, if you enjoyed this podcast, you'll want to come check out trustedcoaching.com, where you can get more support and coaching to help you become more of who you really are and to achieve the vision you have for your life. Again, that's trustedcoaching.com. We'll see you there.